Okay, so today we are checking out EmulationStation in how to set this up from scratch. So in this setup guide, I'm going to be showing you how to download this and install it onto a portable USB device. So you can take this USB device around to wherever you're going. Maybe you're going to a friend's house or a family member's house. You can literally plug this USB stick into any computer you want and continue your retro gaming. So I'm also going to be showing you in this setup guide how to download RetroArch and how to pair it with EmulationStation. So you're going to find a lot of information in this video. I've tried to make this as easy as possible. Just follow what I do and you'll be fine. So if you want to check out EmulationStation, maybe you've got fed up with your current front-end system, check this video out. Okay then, before I start today's EmulationStation setup guide, if you like what you see today, hit notifications, subscribe and like. It really helps my channel out a great deal. Plus it gets you up-to-date retro emulation setup guides whenever I release it, which is pretty much every day. So what we're going to do then, first of all, to start this, is head over to the EmulationStation website. This is Desktop Edition, and if we go to the download section, that's going to take us right to the bottom, and the version of this is going to be for Windows. So we're going to download the portable version of EmulationStation, and as we can see just above it, this one only released a few days ago from recording this video. So we're going to download the portable zip, and then we're going to go over to the RetroArch website, and again, link's going to be in my description for this. And we're also going to download a portable version of RetroArch. If we just scroll down, and we're going to find list of supported platforms. Here's Windows on the left, and the version I'm going to download is the 64-bit. You've also got the option of downloading a portable 32-bit. If you're not sure which computer you're running, then just go down to your search bar and type in system information, and just beside system type you'll find just there what type of computer you've got. So as we can see, I've got a 64-bit computer, so I'm going to download the 64-bit version, portable version of RetroArch. So while that's downloading, what we're going to do is I've plugged in a USB drive to put this on. So here's my portable USB drive, and if you've got one of these hanging around and you want to delete everything, just format it. So right click on it and just go to format. Now it's going to say file system. Now we have different options here. NTFS means that we can drag onto it whatever we want. If you put it to FAT32, it means that you can only transfer up to 4 GB of data at any time. So just make sure this is on NTFS. That's a much more modern way. And then we're going to volume label it is anything you like really. I'm going to just call this EmulationStation. And then quick format, that's fine, and then just press on start, and once it's done, format complete, just press OK and close that. So now we've formatted it, we can now see the name of our USB device is EmulationStation. So inside of here, I'm going to create a new folder in the root of EmulationStation, and I'm going to call this folder EmulationStation. Now once you've downloaded EmulationStation, you should get a zip folder. So what we're going to do is just open this one up, and if I open the EmulationStation Desktop Edition, we're going to find all these contents inside, and these contents needs to go inside of that EmulationStation folder that we've created on our USB drive. So open up this folder, and then it's just a case of highlighting everything here, Control and A, and just drag everything inside of that EmulationStation folder. Okay, so once everything's been transferred across into that EmulationStation folder, we can now delete that EmulationStation.zip. We no longer need that, so just right click on it and delete that zip folder. Okay, so let's just open up EmulationStation.exe. first screen you're going to see is no game files were found. So all we're going to do here is just use your controller or use a button on your keyboard just to move across to create directories and select it and proceed. And just press on OK. And then now once we've quit EmulationStation, if we go into this ROMs folder, we're going to find a whole list of different systems that EmulationStation supports. So within this folder, we're going to find firstly a game to add to it, and I've got a Super Nintendo game, a SNES game that is. So if I just scroll down until I get to the SNES folder, in my games folder, I've got a couple of games here. So we got a Super Nintendo game, which is a file extension .smc, and we've also got Sonic Generations for the 3DS, file extension .3ds. So first of all, I'm going to drag my SNES game into that SNES ROMs folder, and if I back out of here and scroll right to the top, we're going to find N3DS, and that's where 3DS games are going to go. So I'm going to just drag my Sonic Generations .3ds game into that ROMs N3DS folder. Okay, once they've copied over, if we back out of the ROMs folder, and if we come back into this section of EmulationStation, let's open up EmulationStation.exe again. And here we go. So we're inside of EmulationStation. We got the 3DS game, which is now on display. And we've also got the Super Nintendo game, which is now on display. So let's try booting up a game. If I go to ActRaiser 2, it's going to say, couldn't find an emulator. So what we're going to do then in this case is just exit out of EmulationStation. So I'm pressing start on my controller, quit EmulationStation, really quit, yes. We can then use the RetroArch portable version which we downloaded, and you should download this into a zip folder or an archive like I've got here. Double left click on it. And inside of here, you're going to find the RetroArch portable. So just highlight it and just drag it into that EmulationStation emulators folder. Okay, so once all the contents are copied over onto your USB stick or RetroArch, what we're going to do is just rename this RetroArch folder. So right click on it, show more options, rename, and just delete the hyphen Win64 or Win32. And that's that. So everything's now copied, and what we're going to do is once again just open up EmulationStation. And we're going to try booting up a game again, Super Nintendo. And it's actually asking us for a core, an emulator core. So, of course, when we downloaded RetroArch, it came with no cores. So we need to download the cores through RetroArch itself. So again, if we exit out of EmulationStation, so main menu, quit EmulationStation, and what we're going to do this time is go into that emulators folder that we just put RetroArch into, go into the RetroArch folder, and if we just scroll down, we're going to find RetroArch.exe. If you double left click, this is going to open up the main skeleton behind EmulationStation. So all the games that you're going to be playing in EmulationStation are running off of RetroArch, which is going to be running in the background. So if we launch a game, once we downloaded a core using RetroArch, it's also going to display in Windows mode. So first of all, in RetroArch, we need to go to settings, go to video, and go to full screen mode, and turn start in full screen mode to on. And if we back out of here, the next thing it was asking for in EmulationStation was a core, a SNES core. So if we go up to main menu, we're then going to go down to online updater, core downloader. And what I'm going to do in this case is look for the Super Nintendo core. So if we just scroll down, and everything you see is all of the different systems that RetroArch supports. So here's our Nintendo section, and I'm looking for specifically the SNES 9X core, and here we go. So if I press enter to download and install this, we're going to see a hashtag, and that just simply means that this has now been installed. And whilst we're here, I'm also going to download the core for my 3DS game. So if we just go up, I'm going to download 3DS Citra. So just download and install this core. And now if we back out of this core downloader, what I'm actually going to do is just update installed cores, and just scroll down on Online Updater, update core info files, update assets, update databases, and if we come back out while this is extracting, what we're going to do next is actually go to configuration file and just save current configuration once this extraction process of assets is finished with. Okay, so save current configuration. If we back out, we're going to go to RetroArch. And now we're going to come out the RetroArch folder, and again, and we're going to go back down to EmulationStation.exe, open this up. And now we've got RetroArch cores to support both Nintendo 3DS plus Super Nintendo. So I'm going to start with Super Nintendo. And if I open this, we now have a running Super Nintendo game using that core through RetroArch that we just downloaded. And if I just quit out the game for now, so I'm using two buttons together, which is my Google Stadia button with the Y button on my Stadia controller. What I'm going to do is just quit out of this game. So quick menu, quit RetroArch, and that's going to bring us back to Emulation Station. If I come out and go into Nintendo 3DS, if I boot this game up, it should now boot with that Citra core that I downloaded. And as we can see, both of those games now are running perfectly, but we need some artwork for these games, of course. So if we go to main menu, scraper, if we go to scrape from, we're going to have the games database and screen scraper. I'm going to recommend screen scraper. Scrape these games. I'm going to just keep this to all games. Scrape these systems. So I want to check Nintendo 3DS and Nintendo SNES, Super Nintendo. Check both of these. Go to back. And if I go to content settings, I can then deselect whatever I don't want, but I'm going to keep everything checked, download everything. And I'm going to back out of here and just go down to start. And just let this scraping process take place. And as you can see, it's now downloading some video and some artwork. And two games successfully scraped, just press OK and back and back. And if we go back into the game menu, Super Nintendo, here we go. And into Nintendo 3DS. Okay, so now we downloaded some artwork, some videos, we can actually use the main menu to go to UI settings and theme downloader. So on your first attempt at doing this, you'll see this little window pop up and just press proceed on this. This is going to generate a themes list. So what we're going to do from here is just take a look at the themes list, and we can install different themes from EmulationStation, as you can see here. So let's just say, for example, I'm going to download CoinOps, which I think is a great theme. Just download this theme. Okay, once that's finished, you're going to see a green check mark saying installed. If we back out of here, and if we just drop down to theme, we're going to see our new theme listed just here, CoinOps. If we just select that and then back out of UI settings, and here we go, brand new theme. Now, if we go back to UI settings again and go to theme variant, we got options here to change how this looks. So, for example, simple with cover art in back out. And we can actually manually insert our own themes for EmulationStation. I'm going to show you how to do this. So you're going to be limited through EmulationStation which themes are available. If there's a particular theme you want, like I say, we can manually put this into EmulationStation. So if I go to main menu, quit EmulationStation, and inside our USB device, we're going to find themes, and inside of this folder we can put different themes inside. So I've looked online and I found a couple of websites, and of course themes from systems such as RetroPie, Batacera, everything is based on EmulationStation, so the vast majority of themes are going to work with this version of EmulationStation. So I've downloaded a couple of themes which aren't available in EmulationStation. I've actually got them just here. So we got this museum theme, and they download in zip folder. So here's the museum theme. All I need to do is just highlight this and drag it into that EmulationStation themes folder. Okay, and I'm now going to drag in the material theme that I've downloaded outside of EmulationStation. So once you put your themes inside of that themes folder, if we go back into EmulationStation, if we now go to main menu, UI settings, theme, we can now see that material and museum have now appeared. So let's just go for museum and back out, and here we go. And again, UI settings, theme and material, back out. And it's that simple. And to actually change the appearance of these themes, it really is a case of main menu, UI settings, and we can choose different options here such as theme color scheme. So I'm going to just put that back to CoinOps for now. That's my favorite. Okay, another option we got, say you got several different cores for example, say Super Nintendo. If you want to use a particular core that you download through RetroArch, you can actually change this by going to main menu, other settings, alternative emulators, and for SNES, we got these just here. Now, as it stands, I've only got the SNES 9X core, but for example, if I download BSNES core in RetroArch, for example, we can actually use BSNES. So, for example, if I select BSNES, and I come out, and I open up Super Nintendo again, it's going to say couldn't find an emulator, and of course, like I say, that's because simply I've not downloaded this core in RetroArch. So I'm going to move on now to a little bit more complex systems. So of course, these systems so far has required no BIOS files. So I'm going to show you how to set up a little bit more complex systems. So main menu, quit EmulationStation, yes. And so for more complex systems that requires BIOS files, I recommend just typing into, say, Google, RetroArch, and then the name of the system that you're looking for information on. So as we can see, I've typed in RetroArch 3DO, and we can see Libretro just here, the 3DO company, 3DO Opera. So this tells us that RetroArch is using a core to power 3DO games known as Opera. And if we just drag this down, we're going to find which BIOS files Opera needs, and we're going to find various other information such as this particular core's file extensions. Now, The one I'm going to be using here for this example for 3DO is actually .chd, which is a compressed file which saves you space on your hard drive. You can convert different files into .chd, which I've covered different times on different setup guides. So we've established which BIOS files we need, and so we're going to go back to the EmulationStation folder, and inside of emulators, back into RetroArch, we're going to find that system folder, and this is where those BIOS files are going to go. So we can drag in those required BIOS files inside of here, and of course we've also got a .chd file extension game, Phoenix 3, and I'm going to back out of here, and again, and just remember that your games are going to go into the ROMs folder, and 3DO is at the top. If I drag this one inside and just let that copy, and bear in mind we haven't actually downloaded a core for this yet, which is of course Opera, so we're going to have to download this through RetroArch. So back into the emulators folder, RetroArch folder, and we need to find that retroarch.exe again, which of course opens up RetroArch. So once we're back inside of RetroArch, we're going to need to download a core. So online updater, core downloader, and we're going to look for that Opera core for Panasonic 3DO. And here it is near the bottom, the 3DO company, 3DO Opera. Just download that so you get the hashtag, and that's now installed. If we back out, just remember to go to configuration file and save current configuration. And now the 3DO game is copied into that ROMs folder, we're going to launch up EmulationStation again. And here we go, Panasonic 3DO. Now let's just go inside and grab some artwork. So scrape these systems. I've obviously already scraped artwork in preview videos for 3DS and Super Nintendo. So I'm going to just check 3DO, back, and start. Okay, and now let's boot up the game. And just to remind you that inside of RetroArch, while we're playing a game, we can actually use save states as well. So inside a quick menu, just drop down to save states, state slot. There's around 1,000 different slots here to save to. I'm going to just select save slot 1, and I'm going to save the game from this point. And to load that save, where I've just saved that, just go to load state. And it's that simple. And also, whilst we're in quick menu, we can also play around with video settings. And you can do this with every system inside of RetroArch. Mainly, it's going to be under core options. You'll mainly find video settings for each system either inside of core options or in settings, video, and scaling. So for example, if I turn integer scale on, you can see the image in the back is now changing. You're also going to have aspect ratio. If I put this to full and put integer scale back to off, we're going to get more of a full screen, but in most cases this will look a little bit stretched. And we'll also see bilinear filtering options. If I turn this on, main menu, quick menu, resume. And if you want to keep these video settings, then normally it's just a case of going to core options, manage core options, and we'll see save game options and save content directory options. So if you want to save those particular video settings for a particular game, in that game only, you go to save game options. If you want to save these video options to every game for say 3DO, then you simply go to Save Content Directory Options. And as you can see, it's now been saved. And just to make sure, we're going to go to Configuration File, Save Current Configuration. So every time I boot up this 3DO game or any 3DO game using Opera Core, it's all going to have those same video settings applied. So let's quit out of here. And I can also do this with Nintendo 3DS. If I open this up, and go to Video Settings, Core Options, I'm going to see lots of different options here for this core, which is Citra. Let's put resolution factor up to say 7 times. This is going to make the game a bit more clearer. And for 3DS, we're going to go down to screen layout positioning, and I'm going to put this one to single screen only. If I back out, quick menu, and just remember to save your settings. So core options, manage core options, save content directory options, so this applies to every 3DS game. Back out and just quickly configuration file, save current configuration, main menu, and then back into the game, resume. Okay, so that's it for today's Emulation Station Portable Setup Guide. I understand I've covered a hell of a lot in this tutorial, so by all means keep going back to the video parts where you might be getting a little bit stuck or confused. Like I say, and I admit, I try covering everything to the best of my abilities in this video. Anyways, if you like what you see today, hit notifications, subscribe, and like so you don't miss upcoming retro emulation content on my channel, which I upload every day. Also check me out on social media. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. But until next time, stay retro.